I am a lover of Christmas music. You know
Yes.
this. I will listen to it anytime. But I just am not sure how I feel about it in the bathroom.
You're listening to Good Faith Weekly. I'm Mitch Randall.
And I'm Missy Randall.
We're here each week exploring the intersection of faith and culture
We find people who stand up, speak out, and step forward.
for inclusion, freedom, and justice for all.
It's time for Good Faith Weekly.
Brought to you by Good Faith Media. Welcome to Good Faith Weekly. On this episode, Missy and I are going to catch up. Then later on the pod, Missy and I are going to talk about a story right here in our hometown, Norman, Oklahoma, where a University of Oklahoma student wrote a controversial paper, submitted it, received a 0, and is now claiming that her religious liberty and free speech has been violated. It's going to be a good pod, so stay tuned. As a former college baseball player, I know firsthand the challenges athletes face. That's why we're proud to support Christian Athlete Circles, a ministry that is creating spaces and resources to accompany athletes on their faith journey, wherever they are. To learn more about Christian Athlete Circles, go to christianathletecircles.org. Hello there, Missy.
Hey, how are you?
I'm well, and you?
Well, now that Christmas has thrown up all over our house,
It definitely has.
I'm finding a little bit of cheer.
Really? Just a tad?
Just a tiny bit.
Well, it's got to be the Christmas music that
Okay.
wafts throughout our house.
This is what I came here to talk about today.
Okay.
Because we actually decorated for Christmas before Thanksgiving because we were traveling over Thanksgiving. And so here we are sitting 2 weeks into this. And while I was busy, hanging the garland and setting out,
Yes.
tchotchkes and
It
things
looks
like this,
beautiful, by the way.
you were busy doing something I didn't realize you were busy doing. And so you have put speakers in every room of our house.
Every room, because I am in the holiday spirit.
Yes. So that Christmas music can pipe through the rooms, which I am all for.
Yes.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
And actually, I think you did this last year as well.
Yeah, I started it last year and
Okay.
then built on it this year.
Yeah. You plussed it this
Yeah.
year. So we gotten decorated and I head into the bathroom
Yes.
to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, sure. What you do in the bathroom? Yeah.
All of a sudden, Burl Ives is singing at me to have a holly jolly Christmas as I'm on the toilet.
As he should.
I don't know how I feel about this. I am a lover of Christmas music. You
Yes.
know this. I
Mhm.
will listen to it anytime.
Mhm.
But I just am not sure how I feel about it in the bathroom.
Well, I mean, when you're taking a shower, I mean, the acoustics are just perfect to sing along with Nat King Cole, with Harry Connick Jr. I mean, it's just perfect
I
to
guess.
sing Christmas
I
carols
just
in the
wasn't
bathroom.
expecting it. But it's one thing for people who have a shower radio. You
Yeah.
get in the shower and turn on the radio.
Right.
Some people like to do that.
Yeah.
I support it. But this is all the time in the bathroom.
Yeah.
No
I
matter
was-
what
I
you're
guess
doing.
I guess I was thinking more of singing in the sleigh than singing on the throne.
You've been workshopping
I have.
that
Well,
one.
I did.
So anyways, that's what's been going on around our house this week.
Absolutely.
But as far as
And I'm still proud of it.
in pod news, we had a little bit of a hiccup this week. And unfortunately, our guest had some technical difficulties, so we weren't
Yeah.
able to complete an interview for you all this week. We've rescheduled that. We're good to go. And so we thought about just, taking another week off.
One of us thought about taking the week off. The other said no. I will let the audience decide which one is which.
That's not untrue. But, when your very own little town in America is in the national news.
Oh my goodness.
I just thought we'd pop on to talk about this a little bit
Yep.
because it is all over socials. It is all over the news. And boy, howdy, do people have opinions about it.
You certainly do. Well, we were out of town for Thanksgiving. When we got back, we looked at the wall and we noticed that the days of embarrassment was ripped off the wall. We're back to zero.
We are back to
Because,
zero.
last week, a news story broke here in our own hometown of Norman, where the University of Oklahoma is located, that a student, a junior, wrote a paper in a psychology course that was a response paper about an article that the class was assigned about gender fluidity. And they were given this assignment and the parameters in which to write the
Mhm.
paper. Well, this particular student, whose name is Samantha Falnacki, she's a junior pre-med student, very bright young woman, but she decided that this was the time and this was the moment to take a stand for her Christian faith. And so she basically wrote an essay detailing why she felt that there are only two genders according to the Bible, and that's
Mhm.
God's plan. But the sentence that got so much play that concerned a lot of people was this sentence, Missy. She wrote, "Society pushing the lie that there are multiple genders and everyone should be whatever they want to be is demonic."
Mm.
And so she wrote this paper, she handed it in. The grader gave her a failing grade, which I believe was a zero.
0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she appealed it to the professor. The professor agreed with the grader. And so then she went above their head, got the university involved. But Missy, she got somebody else involved. And I thought we were done talking
Speaking
about this
speaking
guy.
his name, yes, but no.
But no, she contacted Oklahoma, the former superintendent of the state of Oklahoma, Ryan Walters, to get his take on it. She contacted the governor, and the claim is Falnacki's religious liberty and free speech has been infringed upon
She's being
because she's
persecuted,
being
right?
persecuted
Right.
for her
Yes.
beliefs.
Yes.
But the question is, did she follow the assignment?
So here's the thing. I'm going to go a little bit of, I had to walk uphill 2 miles both ways to school here
Yes, you
on you
did. Yes,
because
you did.
back in my day, if you didn't follow directions on an assignment, if you didn't put your name on a
Yes.
paper, you got a 0.
My
That's
first
just
college
what
paper
happened.
at Northeastern Oklahoma A&M in Miami, Oklahoma was a U.S. history paper. It was brilliantly written.
Oh, I'm sure.
It was okay.
Yeah.
But I forgot to
At least a 70,
I
right?
forgot to put my name on the paper. Guess what my score was?
0.
0.
0.
Yeah, I got a C for that semester because I didn't put my name on the paper.
Right. So my thought is you didn't follow directions. That's just, the risk that comes with that. You
Right.
don't get credit for the assignment if
Yeah.
you don't do the actual assignment.
Right.
So that's one little thing. The other thing, is just although we talked about this a couple weeks ago on the pod about, our need in America, or the Christian evangelicals need to feel persecution, and just that this is not there again. She's not in trouble with the
No.
law. She's not kicked out of school. She's not. I mean, this is not.
In fact, the university has even said this paper is not going to go against her grade
Yeah.
as they intervened. But yeah, there is this false notion by right-wing evangelicals in this country that they're somehow being persecuted, and that's just a blatant lie. I don't even apologize for that. It is just a lie. What they're really miffed about is that they can impose their belief system on everybody else. That's what they're really miffed about.
That they can't dominate.
Right.
As the culture is becoming more diverse, and as we are trying to strive towards that more perfect union,
Yeah.
and truly having liberties and all of these things.
Yeah.
It just, people don't like it when they don't get to dominate.
Yep, absolutely. And this is actually following a trend here in the United States because, last week it was University of Oklahoma. Before that, it was Texas A&M. And then there's been numerous other colleges across the country where students have, submitted a paper or have declared teachers are being too woke or teaching liberal agendas in the class.
They come in with cameras
Yeah,
and start
absolutely.
baiting teachers
Yeah.
into discussions. Yeah.
Well, Missy, if you're going to walk up walk through snow both ways, then I'm going to do it as well. Because
Back in your day.
back in my day, yeah, there's a lot of speculation that, this is really following the playbook of something we have seen before. Now, you and I grew up Southern Baptist. I was trained at a Southern Baptist seminary. But back in the 80s and 90s, when the Southern Baptists were being taken over by right-wing fundamentalists, one of the strategies within seminaries was to send students into classrooms with tape recorders and to tape professors teaching lessons. And they would take something the professor said in a lecture and they would take it out of context, or they would use it in propaganda to say, oh, see here's an example of the liberal agenda being taught in seminaries. And the reality is these professors were doing an incredible job just teaching the lesson and opening young seminarians' mind to the complexities of the Bible, how it was written, how it was composed, contextualization of scripture, and how it should be applied to faith. That's all they were doing. But if they were to take a snippet of what they said in
Mhm.
a lecture, they would use it to further their right wing agenda. And so there's a lot of speculation that this is actually
Another one of those.
mimicking the playbook of the 80s and 90s that took place in the Southern Baptist Convention. So I'm not saying it is, but boy, it sure sounds familiar to me.
Yeah, like we've talked about before, there are so many, historians and experts and folks in academic circles that do look to what happened to the Southern Baptist Convention in the 80s and
Yeah.
90s as we're studying what's happening in current political culture
Yeah.
in our country.
And as is today, what happened back then is seminary professors were fired
Hmm.
because of those incidents. Seminary presidents were fired. Mine was one of those,
Right.
Russell Dilday at Southwestern Seminary in Fort Worth. And we're seeing that play out again today.
Well, and here's the scary thing when you look back at the SBC takeover, they were successful.
They were successful. And that is why it's so terrifying. And that is why we do what we do. We have
Yeah.
to fight this at every turn. And we have to be diligent. Our resolve has to stay high, and we can't let our guard down. And there's another component to this I want to talk about just really briefly. And that is the problem I have as someone who's studied the Bible for 3 to 4 decades now is that this approach to applying scripture in this context is really troubling to me
Hmm.
because she was interviewed by our local ABC affiliate here, and the student said that she uses the Bible and applies it to every fabric of her life. And it was like,
Yeah.
do you take the entire Bible and apply it to your life?
Right.
Because I'm
Right.
guessing there's some part of that you ignore.
There's some that's problematic in there,
Right.
especially for women.
Exactly, exactly. And so that is one of the things that, I've been railing against for years now is the importance of learning how to study the Bible, how the Bible was compiled, how it's contextualized, the different forms of literature within the Bible, that it's not one book, but uh, a combination of books, a collection of books, each written in their own time period, with their own literary context, with their own authors and audiences. It's so important to contextualize scripture because that's really the entire ball game when it comes to reading and applying scripture. And when people try to read it out of context and apply it out of context, you get situations like you do here at the University of Oklahoma.
You know, I think as we've talked about, there are appropriate times and places to
100%.
bring in scripture in an academic
Right.
setting. There are ways to do that, and there are times to do that. This really was not one of those times. And
Right.
like you just expressed, the Bible is not a science book. It's not
Right.
even a history book.
Right.
It is a book that's a combination of books.
Exactly.
And for those of us who, use that for our faith and practice, you use that for your faith and practice and you apply it to your life, those sorts of things.
Yeah.
This just was not the type of class or the arena in
No.
which it didn't make sense
Right.
to bring it
Yeah.
in.
This would have made sense in a Bible college, a psychology of religion course at a Bible college, or even a seminary to read a response paper like this. Then you could have a theological discussion
Right.
around what she wrote. But this was not the criterion of the assignment. And so, I'm sure there's a lot we don't know that we may never know in this context. But, from what we have gathered and the evidence that is before us, she just didn't follow the assignment. And, uh, you know, her religious liberty, her freedom of speech was not infringed upon. She can hold those beliefs. She has the right. I would fight for her right to believe that, even though I disagree with it,
Hmm.
and to say what she wants to say. But there are consequences when you don't follow the assignment or work outside the criterion. And so that's what I think we're really dealing with here. But there's one truth that will remain constant. There's going to be more to come of this story. And
Yeah.
I'm certain it's not over yet. So we will keep our ear to the ground here in Norman, Oklahoma, and let the listeners know more about this.
Well,
as
we
develops.
said, there are no shortage of opinions out there about this situation, and so now you kind of know a little bit of ours.
Yep.
And we'll keep following this and see what happens.
Yep. But until next week, when we'll be back with a new guest, Missy, I'm going to head back to the living room, the kitchen, the patio, or maybe even the bathroom to listen to some Christmas music.
Well, you go sit on your holly jolly throne and listen to you some Burl Ives, and we'll catch you next week.
Until then, keep living good faith. You've been listening to Good Faith Weekly, hosted by Mitch and Missy Randall. This weekly podcast from Good Faith Media discusses matters of faith and culture.
Subscribe wherever you get your podcast and give us a like and a glowing review. We produce the podcast out of Norman, Oklahoma. Our music comes from Pond 5.
And we're supported by listeners like you. Learn more about us at goodfaithmedia.org.